In the sixth abode, the fulfillment of right mindfulness, there is no confusion about the inherent nature of things. Meditating with right mindfulness, detached from discrimination, one cannot be moved by any god or man. Hearing praise or slander of the Buddhas or their teachings, of enlightening beings and the practices they perform, or that sentient beings are finite or infinite, defiled or undefiled, easy or hard to liberate, or that the cosmos is great or small, becomes or decays or exists or does not, the mind is unmoved. Past, future, and present, thinking clearly, always sure. All things are signless, insubstantial, without inherent nature, empty, unreal, like illusions, like dreams, beyond conception. They always delight in hearing such doctrines. Enlightening beings of the seventh abode of non-regression never regress in spite of whatever they hear about Buddhas, the teaching, or enlightening beings. Whether or not they exist, whether or not they escape, whether or not there are Buddhas, past, present, and future, whether Buddha knowledge is finite or infinite, whether the past, present, and future are uniform or various. One is many, many are one. Expression follows meaning, meaning follows expression. Thus do all interdependently become. This is what those who don't regress should explain. Whether things have signs or are signless, whether they have inherent nature or not, various distinctions subsume each other. These people, hearing this, attain the ultimate. Enlightening beings in the eighth abode, youthful nature, fulfill physical, verbal, and mental actions, all pure, without mistakes. They are freely born as they will, and know the inclination of sentient beings, their various understandings, each different, and all the factors involved therein, and the signs of becoming and decay of all lands. Attaining to wondrous psychic powers of swiftness, they go anywhere as soon as they think of it. Listening to the teachings from various Buddhas, they praise and practice unflagging. They comprehend all Buddha lands, shaking, supporting, and contemplating. Going beyond incalculable Buddha lands, they travel in worlds without number to ask about innumerable principles, free to take on any physical form. Their skill in speech pervades everywhere as they serve countless Buddhas. Enlightening beings in the ninth abode of the Prince can see the difference in births of sentient beings. Knowing their afflictions and habits, they understand which techniques to employ. Individual differences in teachings and in modes of bearing, dissimilarities of worlds past and future times, in accord with their conventional and ultimate realities, all they know completely, leaving none out. The skillful setups of kings of the teaching, the doctrines they establish according to the situation, the palaces of kings of teaching and their entries, as well as what is seen therein. The laws of coronation of the kings of teaching, their spiritual capacities, empowerments, and fearlessnesses, their rooms of repose, as well as their praises. With these they instruct the princes of the teaching, explaining all this for them exhaustively, and causing their minds to have no attachments. As they comprehend this and cultivate right mindfulness, all the Buddhas appear before them. True Buddha kings of the 10th abode of coronation fulfill the unexcelled foremost teaching. All the countless worlds in the 10 directions they can cause to quake and illumine with their light, maintaining and traveling to all without exception, fully purifying and adorning them all. They teach sentient beings without number, observing and knowing their faculties completely, inspiring and training boundless beings too, causing them all to turn to great enlightenment. Observing all phenomenal realms, they travel to all lands in the 10 directions. Their embodiments and physical actions there, their spiritual powers and metamorphoses are unfathomable. The realms of lands of the Buddhas of all times, even the princes of the teaching, cannot understand. The knowledge of all times of the all-seeing, knowledge understanding all Buddha's teachings, unhindered, boundless knowledge of the realms of realities. Knowledge filling all worlds, supporting knowledge illumining the world, knowledge comprehending the states of all beings, and the boundless knowledge of true awakening the Buddhas explain for them, so they will consummate them. Thus, the enlightening beings of the 10 abodes are all born by transformation from the teachings of the enlightened. Their practices, according to the virtues they have, no humans or gods are able to fathom. In past, future, and present worlds, boundless are those who set their minds to attain Buddhahood. They fill all lands in the 10 directions, all determined to become omniscient. Boundless is the totality of all lands. Boundless, too, are the states of worlds and beings. Their delusions, actions, and inclinations each different. Due to them, enlightening beings aspire to enlightenment. The very first thought to seek Buddhahood, worldlings, or even those of the 2 vehicles, cannot know, much less the other virtuous practices. If one can lift with a single hair all the worlds in the 10 directions, one can know these Buddha children's progression toward the wisdom of the enlightened ones. If one can drain by drops with a hair the waters of all oceans in the 10 directions, one can know the virtuous deeds practiced by these Buddha children in a single instant. If one can reduce all worlds to dust and know the specific number of each mote, such a person alone can see the path traversed by these Buddha children. The Buddhas of all places and times, all self-enlightened ones and Buddhist disciples, all with various powers of elucidation, illustrate the mind first bent on enlightenment. The virtues of this aspiration cannot be measured. If all the knowledges filling all realms of beings were to explain together, they could not exhaust it, much less the rest of the wondrous practices carried out.